So, the last time, my last video, which I'll link up here, I talked about taking my first OB test and my cardiac test. Well, in that video, I was wearing a jacket and was cold for Texas standards. And now I'm wearing shorts and a short sleeve shirt. And even that, I'm sweating in. I kind of wanted to update on everything that's been going on since then. I've had a lot of DMs on Instagram and stuff like that, asking how I've been doing this semester and stuff like that, since that video, and that was like, what, a month ago that I posted it, or two? I don't even know what day it is. Well, actually I do, because countdown to my wedding is like less than a month, so that's scary. Let's get back. Okay, so last time I talked to you guys, I had taken my first cardiac exam. I think I maybe had taken my second cardiac exam for med-surg. Did really good on both. My OB test, my first OB test was not that exciting. That one was really hard. I'm actually gonna like pull up grades, because I really don't mind telling everybody my grade, because either way I worked hard for it, and if I worked hard for a 57, I'm gonna work hard for a 57, but I didn't get a 57. I'm gonna talk about OB first, because that's basically, OB and pediatrics is basically what your second semester. I'm in LVN school, so it's different for RNs, but we kind of go over the same material. RNs just get a little bit deeper into it. So I'm just going to talk about my experience, and this may not be how your school's set up, yada yada yada, all those disclaimers. But I just want to talk about OB first, because that was probably my hardest class that I've ever taken, like, in college. So the first test, as I already talked about, I kind of bombed it, but she did. A lot of our teachers will go back and like look at the exams and see like what questions most of the students got wrong, and then they kind of look at the question and be like, well, was it hard for them to answer it? Was it not worded correctly? And sometimes if like the majority of the class gets the question wrong, they'll throw it out. So it gives us some points. So in the end, I ended up with a 73. So if you're in any nursing program, I don't know if it changes from state to state, but here at my nursing program, 75 is passing. A true 75, not a 74.9, not a 74.8, a 75. So technically I had failed the first exam. So that was kind of heartbreaking, because I'm like, I think I'm really going to like Mother Baby, because I really like pregnant people. I know a lot about it. I know a lot of teaching resources, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, this was like prenatal care. So it was kind of scary. But then the second exam happened, and I got a 77. So I was like, okay, I think I get it. And then the next one, I got a 75 exactly. So that one, I felt horrible. I had studied really hard, because that was labor and delivery. And I literally poured my heart out for 2 weeks onto this exam, and like basically put every other exam on the back burner. So that was a little difficult. And then we just took an exam on Monday, and I made an 81. We have 2 more tests, but since a lot of people have struggled with this class, our teacher, our next test, we will never be tested over for NCLEX, because it's basically like the complicated side of OB. So, because most LVNs, unless you are highly skilled, highly trained, you don't usually get jobs on an L&D floor or nursery. So we won't be ever tested over the complicated stuff. So she's making an open book exam, which is good. I mean, I'm passing the class right now with a 76, so I am cool with that. That's basically kind of what's changed with OB It has been the hardest thing I've ever taken, so I'm really nervous to take it when I go back for my RN, because it's basically kind of where we get dumped off in. So it's 3rd level RN, but I'm excited. I mean, I think it'll be fine. Then we can go to pediatrics, which is another big thing that happens in the spring semester. And we've only had 3 exams so far for that one. We actually take our 4th this coming Monday, so that's kind of exciting, and that, like, we're near the end because there's only 5 exams in both of those classes. The 80s for pediatrics, because basically it's med surge but geared towards small children. So there are a few new disease processes that most adults don't get, and they're just basically, you see them in pediatrics. But as a kid, I was always sick, so a lot of the stuff I can relate to. I know a lot of people who do have these disease processes that we're talking about as children, so it's been pretty easy. I've just kind of stuck with how I studied for med surge, but geared it towards a small child and what I would have to do for them. So, and then med surge has never really been my issue course. Cardiac did really good on. The only thing I did kind of bad on was the hematologic exam, but a lot of life was going on, like literally the morning of this exam. So it was kind of difficult to keep my mind on the exam. And my teacher basically just, ooh, I hear my dogs. My teacher basically just said that was kind of what she had already progressed, that because it hit a lot of the students in the class. So, which is good, which is fine. And then our next test for that one also, because that, I guess a lot of students made a worse grade than I did, which I made a 73 on that exam. So it wasn't horrible, but it was still bad. But I guess a lot of people made even a worse grade than I did, because our next exam is, again, an open book exam. So I feel like we're getting a lot of freebies, but our teachers basically explained it as that there was a few events. Like, some of the other students had a lot of other events going on, but it affected majority of the class, and they don't want this bump in the road to stop you, because they were like deaths, major illnesses, stuff like that. So stuff that, you can go through, like everybody goes through. So they just happened to happen before an exam. Basically, grade-wise, where I am, so I'm pretty good right now, and I'm feeling pretty good, especially after that last OB one. Going from, like, making, like, low 70s to an 81 was wonderful. Like, I literally went out into the, like, because we take our exams in the classroom and we take them online. Literally, you hit, like, save and submit, and it pulls up your grade, like, immediately. So that's the only good thing that I like about taking on the computer. But literally went out into the hallway and called Patrick and was, like, crying on the phone. And I was like, because, like, we're now, like, I keep looking at my, like, master calendar, but what's today? Today's the 14th. Basically, next week is our last, like, week without finals, and then we start finals. So, like, my mind is, like, boggled. Just wrapping up for the semester pretty quickly, and it's kind of scary because basically at the end of this semester I get married. So that's been kind of going on with it too. Basically, since I've talked to you guys, have sent out all of my invitations, have gotten response back. Everybody's gotten their plane ticket, hotel rooms booked, rental cars booked. You can hear my dogs outside. My wedding is coming up the end of the semester. We do, in my program, have a summer semester, so we have a 10-week course during the summer. So I will graduate in August. So, kind of all I wanted to update on. But if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them down below. I do answer a lot of questions in the comments. You can always DM me. I do like that a lot. But yeah, that's basically it. So I'll see you guys in the next video.